bond.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's considered a technicality, but Price Gregory was there every single day, multiple trucks, so.
So you vote?
One other, why is the bond not part of a renewal then?
Yeah, I think
The fee is being, I mean, the request to waive the fee is being denied, but the bond is still in effect?
Yeah, the bond now.
Well, it's still in place.
It's an escrow.
Does the bond
You only
have a-
use it if you have, if you need it.
It says the
Right,
bond is
and
expired.
you pay the fee? Okay, never mind.
So they need to give us an active
application, the road application is expired.
The bond hasn't expired. And what's the amount of the bond? Do we know?
The bond would just be good for a year, correct, Gary?
It would be good as long as the project's still open.
I think usually a bond, maybe annually, they'd have to renew the bond, or
It's a one-time.
per project.
I don't know.
Did they sign a road bond maintenance agreement for this road as well?
I believe they did, Gary.
I mean, does the road need inspected, stabilized before we go into the next phase of bonding? What's the condition of the road, Jerry? Do you know? Is Delashawn pretty bad?
Yeah.
It's, Jerry, is it still narrow?
Third world countries?
What's
Have you
that?
been in any third world countries?
Yeah.
Worse than that.
Where's
Well,
that?
I think we need to step up to the plate with the road bond agreement and make them get out there and stabilize before we grant them any further access.
Okay.
Who has the bonding on that? It's a good suggestion.
More than one.
Ace Company? Westchester Fire Insurance Company issued the bond.
But I mean, what company's bonding now? Columbia?
Mark West.
Columbia
And
and
Columbia.
Columbia.
I'm just looking
Columbia
at
has,
it.
has,
It's 150,000.
if the road's bad now, it's for Columbia's work.
Would 150,000 cover that? It sounds light.
Well, we need to get somebody out there inspecting it, either our road master or possibly the engineer, and make recommendations on what's needed to upgrade and stabilize the road before any further truck traffic comes.
You gonna go out there tomorrow yet?
I was out there today, it's 4. And like I said in the report there, they said that at today's end, after they was done running trucks today, they were gonna run a roller down, knock the center down, and put stone on it.
They did not do
We'll
that.
go out 7 tomorrow, look at it.
Well, is that acceptable to you, Ed? Will that stabilize the road if they do that?
It will not
For a
stabilize
short
the
while.
road, but they're under construction. As long as they keep it passable for the
Residents?
motorists that's traveling it, that's all you can really ask for.
Well, let's hold them to it before you give them any further extension.
Well, that's not Mark West, that's.
Yeah, it's a different
Columbia.
group.
We're talking about Mark West wanting to do their.
Well, Mark
permit,
West and Columbia need to get together,
Get together.
because
So I
we're in
will-
that situation that you talked about, where they're gonna point at each other.
Yeah,
So let's get to that right now, because you see it coming.
I will
Well,
call
it's-
them again in the morning and let
It's
them know.
definitely Columbia right now, because they have 18 wheelers going up at Concord.
You're a smart guy.
We need to call the task.
Yeah, they're hauling dirt out of there by the tri-axle loads, they haul a lot of equipment, logs, shipping, bark logs.
I met a triaxle on the road today, and the guy was not happy, he had to move over some, but it was like, I couldn't get past him.
Do you have contact people?
Yes,
You need to get them together, okay?
do it tomorrow.
Call me if there's a problem.
And one suggestion I would have, because I was out there yesterday in response to a complaint from a resident. There's a lot of places on Delashawn Road where with just a little bit of machine work, they could make a pull-off and put stone on it. So if people met a tractor trailer or triaxle dump or whatever, they could pull off and let the truck go by without having to back up for a quarter of a mile.
You're absolutely right, but on the other hand, today I came down that road and I met a Verizon truck. He had to back up. It's just not a road in the township, it's not a 2-lane road, it's a single lane.
Well, I know, but there's
Yeah,
places
and
they
that's
could
what
make
Columbia's
pull-offs
been required to make it to them.
so that somebody could pull over on the side without getting stuck in the mud if they put some stone on it. There's places on both sides of the road, bunches of them.
Well, my suggestion was for them to put flaggers at the ends and notify the trucks that we have a car waiting, or you know how flaggers work, let the traffic roll and stop it.
I thought that was part of our agreement.
Well, pull an Ed Stout on them. If they don't jump on it and fix it, you're gonna have the police shut the road down. That'll get their attention.
Okay?
I mean, that was in the motion to approve their use, that they had to fix that road.
Well, they did, at the first, they did. They supplied pipes, we put the pipes in, they come out and dressed up the turns, widened them, but and I told them this today, that Mr. McAdoo was with me when we walked the road with him. I told them, you're into this red clay up here, you're never gonna hold this road. And they sort of like grinned and chuckled, but now they found out what clay is.
Yeah.
Mrs. Bill.
Good, JD. This conversation sounds pretty familiar. A while back, I think the planning commission meeting and supervisor's meeting, I know Gary spoke on the matter. I don't live on that road, so I don't know, and there was talk of having them improve and widen for the problems that you're discussing about pull-offs back then. Whatever happened to that? Did we not?
Apparently not.
We never
Supervisor
discussed
said
that.
no.
No supervisors don't say no.
We never discussed
They
it.
recommended and you guys said no. You would not add that as a condition.
If I can interject, you're gonna have Wilhelm Road tied up, Delashon tied up, Beeham Ridge, I know it's a state road, but that's a joke, it's just a goat path. There's almost no way to get out of my residence, and it's unsafe. Who widened or who built up lines in Wilhelm Road 3 years ago? It was Mark West, I assume?
It would have been more.
So I'm just confused why we didn't do that with Delashon. I mean, they're driving 60,000-pound vehicles up a
No,
20.
120 at a max.
Well, soon be 120, right, but.
That's not, you can't make them widen the road, they gotta have room to get their trailers and stuff in. But you also gotta take into consideration, if they widen that road, we maintain that road. Down the road, that costs us more money to maintain that road. And how many houses are from Jerry's to the end of Delashon Road?
I agree, and I wish it wouldn't change, but that compressor station's there to stay. That traffic won't be as bad, but it's gonna be significantly more than what's been in the past.
And we all signed gas leases, we all went to the bank.
I didn't. We
And-
don't own our gas.
I didn't.
Not all of us.
I didn't think
I
that.
wish, we just got the pain.
We took the money to the bank. Did you not think they were coming? They're here, they're not going nowhere.
Well, I did have the Columbia guys tell me though, is you guys could have made us pave this and we would have done it.
And I figure they will, but why would you want them to pave it when they're under construction? Could you imagine what the paving would look like
That's just what the
today?
guy said, and he said they're not, they've done
I
that.
believe they will pave it, because they've dropped hints to me that we're gonna make this road right, but, well, if you're in construction, you're in mud. We haven't had no good freezes this year, it's all been rain.
Ed, would it solve the problem to have them widen it or at least make the spot places,
Here's
like
what
Zach said, in areas to widen it, but not pave it now and pave it when they're done? Would
We went
that
out there.
solve it?
I'm gonna give you the scoop on how this went down.
I haven't been there, so
We went out on Wilhelm, we walked that road with Columbia. Bus McAdoo, myself, Frank Brownlee Trucking, the whole Columbia, Bill Riggle was with me. We walked that road, we looked at culvert crossings. They was gonna plate them, they agreed to replace them. We have replaced what they agreed to do. They said they needed to make this turn wider, build this up, inch this up a little bit. They did all that. But they're not maintaining the cartway with stone and keeping it up. They got sinkholes, you know, where the trucks have sunk into the mud, and the cars will drag on. They are supposed to be addressing that. And I called him last week, did not get a return phone call. I called him Monday. I talked to him again today. And he told me, and he said they didn't do it, so I will be back on the phone with him in the morning.
Well, they may have one way to fix that, is those big holes.
Shut her down.
Shut her down.
Yeah,
They
just
got
like
97.
what Gary
dumpsters.
said, tell them to keep it in a neat and business-like manner and maintain
Frank
it.
Brownlee
Shut
is
it
gonna
down.
haul the compressor in there. He's bringing a big truck with axles that turn on the trailer. He brought that truck in and did a dry run. He told them what he needed done to get that compressor in. The only thing that they haven't did that they said they was gonna do is trim the trees so that they could get through. Everything else they have did, but keeping up with the road maintenance. And that's where we're at today. That's what
Let's
I'll
go.
battle with them tomorrow.
That still doesn't address that you can't get by. I got the guy in the driving the tracks till Tuesday. He said, can you get by? I said, sir, I couldn't get by with a bicycle, or let alone my SUV.
Somebody's gotta back up.
Right, and it's, I measured it tonight, it was a half mile to the nearest place on that corner by Zwickers that would have been wide enough. But
Okay.
he wouldn't move over, because he said, if I get inside the road off this
He's
gravel,
gonna be stuck.
I could be in the woods.
But you also gotta understand, he is doing his job.
Right.
You're doing his job. If they go to put a pool off there, we only have a 16.5 foot right away from center.
Right, but they own a lot of that land there.
Well, some
We
of
can do
them
whatever we want
do,
with
some
their
parts
land.
they don't. I don't know how the property lines lay up in
Right.
there, but you gotta get landowner's permission to get off the right of way. Like I said, coming down through that one section where that turn is, you're banked both sides,
Right.
you know?
Can you get with them tomorrow? Or,
Yeah, I'll have the phone ringing first thing in the morning.
all right.
School district has sent us a resolution that regards to earned income tax collection. They have reduced the commission rate for tax collectors and from, how many percentages, I can't recall.
More than 90%.
More than, well, what was it, 5%? It's a 5%?
No, I'm saying.
What was it we
the
paid
commission-
for? We paid, Donegal paid 5. Was it-
Donegal paid 5, McGuffey paid 1, paid 3% on the first 100,000, and 1.3 after that. So it's a reduction of more than 90% of our
I
commission.
can understand the school district's desire to save money, but what happened is, we're not gonna have a tax collector. In fact, she's not running again, and nobody's filed for it, then maybe somebody will run a write-in campaign. Yes, sir?
I'd like to throw some daylight on that situation. I may not be able to do it all, but in my opinion, the discussion to do all of this reduction of the fees to the tax collectors was not really a discussion per se. We've done more discussion tonight about a road than the school board did about reducing the pay for the tax collectors. It was a comment.
Shut up.
All right.
They don't answer you, why do you have to answer to them?
This was passed on.
It was passed.
January 19th.
Yes.
And we found out about it,
February 6th, or whatever on it.
yeah, well, a couple weeks later, I guess
The only
February
thing,
9th.
the only thing I'll say is, you guys know what was done publicly, and there's a chance that it's gonna end up in litigation, so I'm not gonna
Understood.
comment.
I understand that, yeah. I respect that.
I would like to say something. I think this is what happens lots of times. I've missed meetings, things happen when I'm not here. 2 years ago, whenever we were crying for the community to come and get involved in the gay and lesbians that were getting paid for by school money, nobody came. So whenever this was passed and discussed in January, regardless if they had 2 people for it and 2 people against it, or the way it generally runs, you have 2 people that are opposed and the rest of them that are for, it's passing. But anybody that could have come and contributed, yourself or whoever it may have been, you weren't there.
We didn't know about it, Betty.
I know that's
I
because
didn't
we,
know until I
this
got
is
that
my
letter.
point. It's
Yeah.
because we don't attend the meetings regularly. I've put out posts saying this is going on. Other people have put out posts.
Yeah, we did.
If we don't say, get to the meetings, you don't know what's
But as
going on.
tax collectors, I've been a tax collector for 24
I
years.
understand. I'm just saying.
And couldn't contact us tax collectors and say, I'd like to sit down with you and
I
and let's
understand what you're
discuss.
saying, but I'm
We
just
got a letter
saying,
with 90%.
if you weren't there though,
I'm not a lawyer, but I will say, there's statutes that govern all that on the timing, and to the best of my knowledge, we did it right by the book.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
The question is, what's gonna be our options for tax collectors when we don't have tax collectors? And we need to plan for it because it's 2018, it's gonna be here.
You have to look at the statute to see what's involved.
Good.
There, There's litigation in the state of Pennsylvania, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, that looks like legislation, that looks like it may pass, and that would be the property tax that is used for school funding. It may be rescinded and a 1% sales tax would be added on, and that would eliminate the tax collectors anyway. I know that the conservative side of the legislature wants to eliminate property taxes used for schools. And it looks like they've got the votes. If it passes this year, and it looks like it might, it will be a 2-year phase-in. The first year will be a complete. Next year, if it happens on the spot, next year will be a full tax burden on the property owner, but the following year, 2019, would be half of the property tax. And the reason being, the full year was to help retire debt, then the half year, and on the third year, the property tax would be eliminated. So that would, in effect, do away with the tax collectors anyway.
I appreciate that information. Hopefully we have a plan in place. It doesn't eliminate the township part of the real estate tax.
No.
That's gonna be the issue.
Right.
It's still gonna exist.
Right.
And we have to figure out how we're gonna get someone to collect it.
It's a sticky wicket.
I appreciate the information. Gary,
I'd just like to say, I'm not saying I'm for or against, I understand your position. I'm just saying, you all sit here and say, it's nice to have everybody at the meeting and we can have discussions, and it is. It's nice for people to be informed. I've been to the Buckley School Board meetings when 3 people have been there. Just like you, I'm sure that you all have been to meetings where you haven't had as many. And then what happens? Something's passed and everybody's upset because that's the way it is. If you want to know what's going on, you got to be at the meeting. And I'm including myself. I've missed things here.
I don't know, and I don't have a motion on this, but it's something we need to look into as the year progresses.
What exactly is the motion?
There's no motion. There's no motion.
That's just
Oh,
information.
okay.
Next item on the agenda.
The addition was to engage in labor attorney to serve as arbitrators. Okay, that's the next one then.
I'll move it.
I thought that was one of the,
I move that we adopt that.
second.
Yes.
Yes.
Which, did those overlap, or can you clarify those last two, because Amy wasn't clear on what she read? Is that, I know Gary,
They may end up being a little overlap in them, I don't know, but you'll find that out when we meet with John.
okay, so the one was to have.
One was to engage in labor attorney to serve as arbitrator
Excuse me, please.
for solicitor's advice.
To hear the grievance.
To hear the grievance,
And that was
right.
for the police personnel matter?
Yes, and then the other one was regarding the police chief's contract.
And that was, so
No.
he could talk to Gary about.
Authorizing
no.
the solicitor.
That's
That's
two
the
different
third,
things.
that's another one.
That is the third, that's one that we just heard.
Did we not, did we vote on the one to grant you permission to?
Yes.
We voted on that one, okay, I'm sorry.
They were separate.
Okay, there's two separate. They're separate.
That's, I mean, sort of confusing how they were.
Yes.
Any other items on the, additional items?
Okay, before you continue, can you go back and take a vote on your motion not to grant the waiver for the fee application for Mark West?
Did we not vote on that?
You made, not.
Well, we,
I thought Greg made a motion to deny the waiver request.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it was denied, not to grant, exactly.
Right, not to grant, but they didn't vote on it.
You voted
How do you
it?
vote?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Correspondence.
Okay, the first piece of correspondence is from James Harshman, who's an engineer representing Risk Horizons over on Old Brick Road regarding their land development. Here is a 3/6 of 17 copy of the zoning proposal. There is a letter from FEMA that indicates that the township has been reinstated into the National Flood Insurance Program effective March 1, 2017.
In the what program?
FEMA.
No, what, they reinstated in what?
National Flood Insurance Program.
Flood insurance, okay.
Yeah.
I think you're safe.
Well, this is Pennsylvania Water, Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, Water Construction and Personal Inspection Report on Tea Garden Land LLC. I don't know, that might be Joe Tea Garden's
Hey,
place.
before you go any further, on that FEMA letter,
Yes,
obviously, we were insured on flooding, and then it was
Yes.
removed.
yes.
When and why?
We don't know why, but we became aware of it when a resident of the township said they were notified by their insurance company that they weren't gonna continue to carry them, but the township was not enrolled in that program any longer. Tammy tracked it down and found where things were sent to them, and for some reason they didn't.
The gentleman I talked to actually apologized and said he took full credit because I have the email where I had sent them the new floodplain, the updated floodplain ordinance. And so it was just an oversight on their part, but it took steps to get us reinstated.
It took,
So, okay.
there was a period of time that they were, the insurance companies were denying residents or
Flood
telling them
insurance.
that they weren't gonna be eligible for flood insurance.
Okay,
We reacted as quickly as we could to get it put back.
all right, thank you.
This isn't on that. Did you say there's a new zoning draft,
Yes, yeah.
3/16/17?
Yes, 3/6 of 17.
3/6, yeah.
It's online, we don't have copies printed up yet. It is available
Is that the
online.
one 66 pages?
Yeah, I believe it is, yeah.
Okay.
You said that is not complete yet, correct?
No, they're gonna add in the subdivision, mobile home park ordinance, the adult use ordinance, yeah, with the 4 items that have not been.
Michael said that would be on by Friday.
Yeah. So everything's there but those additions. A letter from Waste Management, giving us their price increases. 10 Mile Paving giving us their sweeper prices. This is a letter from the Buffalo Creek watershed. And Ed, I guess there's some discussion that they want to open up the backside of the lake and maybe possibly walking trails and
Yes.
and they wanted the township to partner with, may want the township to partner with them,
Well-
some of that, and this is very preliminary at this point.
Yeah, what I heard is, the Fish and Boat Commission said they'd bring the back road up to standards. They want to control the waterway, and they want a municipality to step in and design with Buffalo Creek Watershed a bike trail, a walking trail, a floating handicap fishing dock, some ground maintenance, and it'll be like a 25-year lease. But they want to bring people down from Harrisburg to meet with the supervisors if there's any interest.
Thank you.
Did you
Mr.
say
Leslie?
if there's any interest?
Yes.
Thank you.
Hey, Tom.
Hey,
On that old brick road, you said something about the old brick road. What was
Yeah,
that?
it's, well, I think it's this land development, it's one before we cross the interstate.
Right there at the interstate.
Oh,
Right there at the
okay.
interstate, when you get off the interstate.
If you get off the exit, you're looking straight at it. It's where all that, they're making all that.
Where they got all that stuff in there.
Yeah, I believe it's the one right before we cross the interstate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's a letter from the Sweat Law
Where they
Office
have all that stuff
regarding
right
the right to know
now.
action.
Paper and everything rolled up
There
right
is
there.
a
Right next
letter from
to.
Baker International about the Dutch Fork
West
Church
Virginia.
Road Bridge Replacement
It's right
Project.
straight ahead of you.
Is that the bridge right to the church yet?
I didn't
No,
hear.
when you
This
come
is
up
Dutch
from
Fork Road,
Pennsylvania.
Dutch Fork
When you
Church
come up from
Road
Pennsylvania,
Bridge
it's right straight
Replacement
ahead.
Project.
I'm sorry.
That's the only bridge on that road. The
Okay,
rest
that's
is all
what I'm
gone.
thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
Anyhow,
I
there's
know.
a report here on that.
Yeah,
Report
right,
from
right.
Consol Energy on, looks like must be some activity in East Ridley Township. A letter from Senate Engineering. And this is regarding the sewage pumps down on Tuttle Street that we're having issue with. And there's some quotations and some diagrams and some things how to fix that sewage problem. A letter from Hapchuck Inc. regarding Principles Energy dumping of their holding tank. This is from Western Route 40 Business Association in regards to minutes that they, a meeting that they had back in February. This is Trans-Canada, Columbia Midstream, talking about compressor stations and just some kind of a PR piece. This is from Range Resources regarding official notification on the provisions of the Oil and Gas Act for the Crayer West unit. A letter from Gateway Engineers. I don't know this location. This is in regards to PA DEP Act 14. Notice of intent for coverage under the erosion and sedimentation control for Range Resources for the Linville Wilson website, well site. Here is a income tax, or not income, but real estate tax appeal in Washington County. I think there's more than one here. But these are all assessment appeals. And Senate Engineering, this is the same proposal that we gave earlier in the meeting on the drawings for the maintenance shed. This is an advertising piece for vehicles. Soup Coat to give us their price on sweeping of roads, the rental of equipment for sweeping of streets. Range Resources on the Michael Brownlee unit. And this is from the Office of Open Records and just notification updates on cases. And this is from the Sweat Law Office. And again, this is more in relation to right to know and some responses. It's a copy of a legal ad that was in the, looks like must be the newspaper ad for a special meeting in the township, which was on February 16th. And a letter from Pennsylvania DEP on Range Resources on the Hibbets impoundment. And a memo from the Washington County Sewage Council that tells us we got until the end of March to get our sewage records that are going to throw them away. Yeah, the Range escrow, do we need to talk about that tonight?
Oh, yeah. The reason they are gonna put in writing that they're going to redo that road, so they think
It's all the roads, we gotta, like 9 roads, but they're not going to pay the hauling escrow. They said that they should be covered under the blanket line.
the only one I'm familiar with is the $3,000.
It's 3,000 per road.
Per road.
Hauling escrow.
And I think they're referring to the one road they said they're gonna pave. So why go out and do an inspection and a stabilization when they said they're gonna pay it?
There's 9 roads.
Are they gonna redo all 9 roads?
The 9 roads are in question, they don't wanna pay hauling escrow on any of the 9. They believe that they're still covered under their,
Michael was
So-
dealing with Alexis on that. We should have talked to her when she was
Yeah.
here. So we'll bring it to a head.
okay,
Hauling escrow
yes.
for 9 roads.
Mike's dealing
Yes,
with Alexis.
they were actually looking to change their mind, I think, and not do it, but regardless, we need to know if we need to.
Okay.
So, correspondence.
Yes.
Approval of bills list, monthly bill list is submitted for approval. Motion to approve bills and sign checks.
So moved.
How you vote? Dave?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Remarks from the supervisor. There needs to be a discussion on whether a township operations should undergo an in-depth independent audit of all accounts, including general fund, water and sewage, Act 13, and all funds maintained by the township treasury. This audit would be in addition to the audit currently being performed by the township elected auditors. The audit would include a report of findings and recommendations by a certified public accounting firm.
Received a couple calls, I think 3 over the last week, people alleging that money is missing in this township. I see some of the people in this room that have made those allegations. It's a very serious allegation. And anything from being told that our Secretary of Treasurer is misappropriating money to, I've heard that a couple times, to what's going on, people calling up, what's going on in the township, here there's money missing. You know what, it gets beyond common sense when people start doing that. And I think that us as supervisors, if somebody's saying that there's money missing, I think we're obliged to prove that there's not, or that there is, whatever the case is. And it's done by an independent firm that's gonna take a look at the entire financial operations of this township. Mr. Zolsky, do you have any comment?
I mean, that's the only way to address those complaints or accusations. Have an independent